They did a really good job there. As you said, Bonte, after making one three-point shot in the first half, they went 6 for 7 in that third quarter to actually take the lead. Too much spurt from the sixes in the fourth quarter. But I think being down Steph Curry and getting down by 24, really impressive comeback.
No doubt about it. The 18-5 run there in that third quarter to take a lead. They had a lead early in the fourth quarter, but the Sixers here in crunch time, as we look at this video, go on a 10-2 run to take control of the game, and they are just so active defensively, long, athletic, and it all starts with Ben Simmons. But here we'll look at some of the crunch time stats here. And Wiggins with a great play here. Kelly Oubre Jr. with the double-double, Bully, 24-10. And it looked like the Warriors, as they tied a game there, they were in this thing against Tobias Harris. He's just a beast.
He's a big-time player, left off the All-Star team, playing with a chip on his shoulder, averaging about 20 points per game, and doing that efficiently. 50 from the field, 40 from the three, and 90 from the free throw line. That little runner looked a little bit like Bernard King. That was a tough shot. Good defense by Draymond, just a tough shot by Tobias Harris.
Yeah, whoever left him off the All-Star game made a big mistake, so I'm going to put that out there. But I thought he made some big-time shots. Milton, Bradley was nice all night around the basket, just putting things back in there. And Ben Simmons, you know, he set the tone early, and everybody else just followed his lead.
A Doc Rivers team, they play to their strengths. They stay away from their weaknesses. Ben Simmons doesn't shoot the three well, so he doesn't shoot it. He uses his speed, his great ball handling. He's ambidextrous. He gets into the lane for those little floaters and finishes. And by also doing that, he collapses the defense. He kicks out to his three-point shooters. They just got a spurt in that fourth quarter and took control of the game. But I thought it was a really nice comeback by the Warriors. They didn't turn it over. Defensively, they did a solid job. And they found points throughout the game, just not enough in the fourth quarter.
Darrell, watching this Philadelphia team tonight, they're #1 in the Eastern Conference. No Embiid tonight, no Seth Curry. Embiid's playing like an MVP. Can this team compete with the Brooklyn Nets when it's all said and done in the Eastern Conference?
I think so. I think they're missing a big piece, and Joel and those guys is going to take those big men out around the perimeter. He's going to play inside as well. You got Ben Simmons, and we talk about their length and their size. They're a big team, so I think they could go out there and compete with anybody in the Eastern Conference. I won't say they can beat the Nets right now. It's something I definitely want to see, but I think they can definitely match up well because they defend at a high level as well.
I think they have a chance to beat Brooklyn. I think they'll be in the finals, right? But Embiid, just like Steph Curry, that's their MVP.
Right.
So, you know, obviously a totally different team without those two players. Seth Curry's a key to them as well. He's a great three-point shooter. He also makes plays off the dribble. Don't underrate that. He's a very good playmaker. But what Doc Rivers has done with Embiid, he's put him on the block more. He does shoot threes occasionally, but he does his work first and foremost on the block, and then he works his way out. But, you know, he forces double teams, and then Tobias Harris, Seth Curry, and their other...
Danny Green.
All those three-point shooters are out there, so it's a huge difference when Embiid's in the lineup.
No doubt. Let's talk about Kelly Oubre Jr. for a second, because he's been in a bit of a funk here. Tried to break out of it Saturday night in the second half against the Memphis Grizzlies. And tonight, early on, he was struggling with the shot, but I thought he got going here, Darrell. 24 points, 10 rebounds, got to the rack, 2 of 4 from the three-point line. I like what I saw from Kelly Oubre Jr. tonight.
Yeah, I thought he had a great game, and I thought in that second half he was a big reason of that comeback. But I love when he's going to the rim, he's attacking, he's trying to be athletic and play over the rim. That opens his shot up all the time. We've been saying that all year. When he's struggling, once he gets to the basket, once he gets to that free throw line, the shots around the perimeter start falling for him.
This is a vintage Kelly Oubre Jr. game, where he starts off kind of quiet, but then he starts driving to the lane, gets a few easy baskets. His defense is consistent all night long. And then slowly but surely the three-point shot comes around. I thought he made some clutch baskets when they took the lead. But he just let the game come to him. It's nice to see him get 10 rebounds, 8 for 14. That was a beautifully well-played game by Kelly Oubre.
Yeah, that was a key for him in the month of February when he was averaging 20 points and 7 rebounds. But let's hit up with the top. Let's go to the top story of the day. Our news alert here on Post Game Live, and it's Steph Curry. Of course, he missed tonight with the bruised tailbone. We saw him there on the sideline. Well, Steve Kerr announced in his pregame presser that Curry will miss the next week. That includes the second.
Think about it. You're down 24. You make that run, and then you kind of stall out. You can't score enough baskets. With Steph Curry in the game, it's a whole different ball game. But you got to be careful with this injury. That tailbone's dangerous. There's, you know, between your lower back. When you get injured like that, the muscles around that area are going to tense up. So you got to be careful with this for sure. So you got to take his time and make sure he's healthy when he does come back.
Yeah, he definitely needs to take his time, but the biggest thing is they're going to miss those 30 points. I think they have 2 winnable games, and maybe even the Hawks, they can give them a good fight. I know they're rolling right now, but it's some winnable games coming up, and they're definitely going to miss him in that lineup, you know, bringing that leadership, bringing that closer mentality. So hopefully he gets well, gets back on that court as soon as possible.
Is this one of the more trickier injuries? I know a lot of people talk about a hamstring injury, an ankle injury, but you were talking about this when he suffered that injury, Darrell, how tailbones can be tricky. Could be a 1-week injury, could be a 2-week injury. How tricky is this injury? Kind of explain here to our audience what a tailbone injury does to you.
It's uncomfortable. That's the biggest thing. We saw that when he was getting up. He thought he was good, and then he kind of like, you know, grimaced a little bit because he knew that it was a little more painful than what he thought. But it's one of those things you really can't treat. It's all about feel, so I'm pretty sure he's probably feeling a little bit better, but like Mully said, you know, that just triggers other muscles around the tail quick.
Most people at some point in time have some back pain, and it's excruciating. And the thing is, your core here is connected to everything, be your hamstrings, your quads, and that's what sports is all about, your core strength and core health.
Man, tough blow for Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. They lose their second straight as we look at our Toyota drive ahead at the Western Conference standings here. And the Warriors with the loss, they fall 3.5 behind the Portland Trailblazers as they try to avoid that play-in tournament. Still up on the Memphis Grizzlies, but you see them behind Dallas now, a 1.5 games. They split that series down in Dallas. San Antonio still hanging around that 7th spot, so a tough loss for the Warriors as they still try to compete for the NBA playoffs. And we'll see if they can get back on track Thursday against the Sacramento team that doesn't play a lot of defense. They don't play defense at all. They gave up a lot of points to the same Philadelphia Sixers team. So the trade deadline is Thursday, high noon here on the West Coast. Will it be active? Will it not be? Mullen, what's your feel for the NBA trade line this year? Considering all the protocols with COVID-19, no fans in the arena, will teams want to spend extra cash? Lakers hurt right now, so it may change the thought process of some teams in the Western Conference.
Well, you always have buyers and sellers. And the teams that think they can make a run, they're going to be trying to add to their roster to bolster them up. The Western Conference is all jammed up. Yep. So they're going to be looking for that one player that can, you know, make a decisive change in their team. As far as the Warriors are concerned, obviously the one player, because of his expiring contract, is Kelly Oubre. I think he's a great fit here, but he's also covered around the league. The fact that he has an expiring contract, if you don't think you can retain him, you probably want to move him to get something to move forward with. Whether, you know, there's been a lot of speculation of who those players are. Would it be Aaron Gordon? They talked about a guard out there.
Bogdanovich with that.
Bogdanovich from Atlanta. Those players make sense because they can fit in the way Steve Kerr plays, but also they're under contract. So you can use the rest of this year to get them integrated into your culture, but you also the plays that you want to move forward with. That's kind of the thought process.
Darrell, what is it like at the trade deadline as a player? Kelly Oubre Jr. going through it all season long, put up some good numbers tonight, 24-10, but knowing in the back of his mind, and this may be the last game I'll ever wear Warriors uniform here. What is that what is that like as a player to have your name in trade rumors every single day and the trade deadline's coming up? How tough is it to focus on the game? How tough is it to go out there and compete, knowing that in the back of your mind it may be your last game with that organization?
It's super tough because you come in, you put so much into the game, you want to execute the game plan, you want to do what you can for the team. And then you hear your name, and I couldn't even imagine. Like when Twitter first came around, I was still in the league, but now it's on a different level. So you're seeing every time you click on the TV, on Twitter, Instagram, whatever, you're seeing that in your face. So I know it definitely can be stressful, and you know, but I feel like if your name is being brought up, that's a good thing because you know you have some type of value, and somebody thinks you can, you know, help their team win.
Kelly Oubre is 25, one of the most dynamic athletes in the league. He's going to be fine.
Yeah. So, you know, if here for the Minnesota Timberwolves, Tyrese Halliburton, we'll see him on Thursday. Can't forget about him. The young man out of Iowa State, and James Wiseman, averaging nearly 12 points per game and 6 rebounds. And Wiseman tonight, we'll talk about his game right now, Mully and Darrell. Can he get back into this Rookie of the Year race? Because what we saw tonight, a start for him, and he was active, Mully. He was around, got to rebound the ball a bit better, but offensively looked like he was trying to get his flow. We saw some good moves, though, from young James Wiseman.
Well, his first game back after missing a week because of the COVID protocol, so I thought he looked pretty good. He didn't look winded. Caught some lobs, which means he's running the floor. Had some nice blocks, some good awareness. I thought overall a good outing for James Wiseman. As far as the Rookie of the Year, conversation, I mean, those first three with LaMelo Ball, who's had a great season, he really has, Anthony Edwards and Tyrese Halliburton, all perimeter players. All those guys play with the ball. So they're kind of comparable. James Wiseman in a totally different situation. Being a center in this day and age is a different category to kind of compare them. But they're all big-time players. Yeah. And I think it's actually a year, Darrell, where each organization made the right pick for them. And I think we can just say, like, they all made good picks. And moving forward, they're going to all flourish.
Yeah, and we talk about this all seasons, how, upside, how big James Wiseman upside is, and I wouldn't even worry about that. Now he's in that starting lineup. I think this is going to be a great opportunity for him to showcase everything he can do. He doesn't have to look over his back. I think he's going to come out the game. Just go out there and play free, and, he has Draymond Green out there to help him, and, some great leaders over there. That's going to help him get through the little mistakes. And that's what it's all about. So the more reps he get, I think we're going to see more and more of his game come out.
No doubt. 11 points for James Wiseman tonight, 4 rebounds, 5 of 13. We'll discuss his game a little bit more, but we got to hear from Steve Kerr after we take a look at the scoreboard. And tonight's final numbers here for the Warriors in their loss against the Sixers. Damian Lee with a good spark in that first half. Lee finished with 16 points, 6 of 7 from the floor, 2 of 3 from the three-point line. You see Jordan Poole there with his numbers. The turnovers for Jordan Poole, but still finished with 19. Not the most efficient night for him. We discussed Kelly Oubre's double-double. But let's hear from Steve Kerr on what happened tonight against the Philadelphia 76ers at Chase Center.
Hey, Steve, did you feel like the Sixers really turned up their defense in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, they did. They put the clamps down on us, 13 points after scoring 40 in the third. They really are a big team. They got size at every position, not just the length, but just the physicality of all their wings. I thought that made a big difference in the fourth quarter, especially.
What did you like? What didn't you like tonight?
I didn't like our start, just our lack of energy and spirit. We got in a hole right away in that first quarter. I liked the second unit. I liked the play of Damian Lee and that group. Bays, Loon, Nico, they came in, did a really good job, kind of giving us a lift in the second quarter. And then I liked the third quarter effort from the starters. They responded and really got us back in the game. So there was a lot of good stuff. We really battled. We just couldn't close the game, couldn't score when we needed to.
Steve, what did you think of James after him missing a week there?
Well, he was a little rusty, but it was good to see he missed 3 games. He did get some, conditioning in, but he needs his rhythm, and that'll come.
Jordan's past week has been, obviously super efficient shooting, and as you mentioned earlier today, I think only 2 turnovers the last 7 games. Less efficient tonight. I think he had 4 turnovers, but what did you think of his whole game?
I liked his game. There are going to be games for everybody, whether it's, Steph Curry or LeBron James or Jordan Poole. It doesn't matter. Sometimes the ball doesn't go in, and you have to maintain your aggressiveness, even in those circumstances. And I thought Jordan did a really good job of fighting through a slow start and going against long, active defenders all night, and still managed to really impact the game and make some really positive plays for us that kept us in it.
Why has closing close games been a challenge for you guys this year?
Well, we're not good enough to do it. Obviously, we're 22-22 for a reason. So, I think we're about 500 in close games. Games that are single digits. So we're not good enough execution wise, and that's what we've got to continue to work on. And that's what I have to do a better job of as coach. I've got to get us more organized, and we've got to find better shots down the stretch.
You mentioned organization there, and I was kind of going to ask, how do you coach for execution?
Well, you do it in practice. That's the whole thing, and then you get comfortable with rotations, and so all of that has been jumbled a little bit this year. We've had a lot of different rotations. We haven't had much practice, and I think it shows. And so we need to take advantage of the practice times that we do have and learn to execute. And I think these last 28 games, we've got to find combinations that we're really comfortable with.
Kelly's name comes up the most in trade rumors for financial reasons, salary cap reasons. This was your last game before the trade deadline. What have you thought about what he's given you to this point, and what's your general thought on Kelly and his future with you guys?
Well, I love Kelly. He's a pro. We've talked a lot, about his circumstances, being a free agent, having his name tossed around. Not an easy position to be in, but this is how it works. This is the NBA. He's got an expiring deal. He plays a position of need for a lot of teams, and he's athletic and long, and he's coveted. He's definitely coveted. So his name is naturally going to be out there. And he's done a great job of handling everything. He's really professional and poised and very practical. And so we'll see what happens.
Steve, you talked about execution there. I'm just wondering, after the teams you had that were so great a few years ago, and the intelligence that those teams had, is it frustrating? How do you cope with not having that now, even though you do have some talent?
Well, I think it's just the challenge is to find the right combinations and to try to get put the pieces together where guys are really complementing one another. And frankly, that team that went to the finals 5 years in a row for a reason, by the way. They were extremely talented and smart. The pieces of the puzzle fit nicely and easily, and we had a lot of combinations we could go to. And so it's more of a challenge with a team where roles aren't as clearly defined, where you've got a lot of guys who are sort of right in the same boat in terms of not having separated themselves from the group. You look at tonight, we didn't play Juan and Eric. Those guys have played big roles for us, and so we're looking at different groups, different combinations. So we've just been searching, and we just got to keep going.
Coach, Mark Haynes, Clutch Points. You battled Doc Rivers, over the years when he was with the Clippers. It's strange, seeing him with a new team in Philadelphia.
A little bit. Doc was with the Clippers for so long, but of course he was with Boston for a long time as well. So mainly I'm just happy for Doc that he landed in a great spot. He's done a hell of a job. Sixers are really good. That's one of the best teams in the league, best defenses in the league, and Doc has his fingerprints all over that. He's a great coach.
All right, you just heard from Steve Kerr there about the loss to the Philadelphia 76ers. He also addressed the Kelly Oubre Jr. trade rumors, saying that he is coveted. He loves Kelly. He's a pro. We talked a lot about his circumstances, having his name tossed around. Not an easy position to be in, but this is how it works. He's definitely coveted. We'll see what happens, and we'll see what happens at the trade deadline. High noon Thursday, West Coast time, of course, where the NBA trade deadline will expire, and we'll see what the Warriors do here. But just speaking of the rotations, because he touched on that, Darrell, we didn't see JTA tonight. We didn't see Eric Pascal. Looney got big minutes. Of course, James Wiseman got big minutes. But we saw the rotation shortened tonight, even without Steph Curry.
Yeah, coaches, when they come into games, they always game plan. They're going to put the best guys out there that they feel can get them a win. So that's probably why we've seen a shorter rotation, just to see what guys, entering Wiseman back in the starting lineup, and then having Looney coming off the bench. So that's just things that coaches do from game to game, is shorten up their rotation and see what lineups fit to win a game.
You can't play everybody. And 9's about the most you can play when you in order to give each guy substantial time to not only get a rhythm but to have impact on the game. So 9 players really is the rotation usually for NBA roster. So before the game, you try and figure out what the best matchups are. It doesn't mean if something goes foul trouble and injury that those guys will be ready. But I think especially now when you're trying to get certain guys minutes on the floor, you have to kind of dictate who you're going to put in. And then those other guys are on call. And that's kind of been the situation all season long.
And one guy who has been getting the call lately, especially in that first Memphis game Friday night, is Damian Lee. He had 21 points off the bench Friday night against the Grizzlies. Tonight, 16 points, 6 of 7 from the floor. And in that first half, Willie, he really got it going and got the Warriors back into the basketball game with 9 points off the bench. Damian Lee is a total professional here. He stays ready despite his limited minutes here. And Steve Kerr continues to call on him, but he continues to produce here.
He's a coach's dream, the ultimate pro, and a great teammate. He stays ready when his number's called. Tonight he's incredible. 6 for 7 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, 16 points. As you said, had been out of the rotation right after the All-Star break. Got called on, put 2 great games together. His gift is obviously shooting, but he's been making runners when they've taken that three-point shot away. He's always in the right place defensively. He knows the schemes, and he'll battle and fight for rebounds. So he's a very important piece to a team. And he's just a ultimate pro and a great teammate.
Yeah, I've been in this role before, and this is not an easy role. You know, you could go a few games without playing, and then when a coach calls you, they're expecting you to go.
Not just sit here and accept that we're going to allow our fellow citizens to just mow each other down with weapons of war. It's the most disgusting thing that exists within our country. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting. It's devastating. There's so many people out there who are suffering. We have to do something about it. Our Senate has to do something about it. And most importantly, we need to acknowledge the people who are suffering today and try to keep there from being future victims and suffering family members in the future. Over 100 people a day in this country die from a gun, whether it's an accident or a homicide, suicide. So we have to address it. And I think everybody is just so fed up. And, I felt like we had pretty good momentum, in the last couple of years with the March for Our Lives organization, the younger generation really taking on this mantle, and they've done an amazing job. There's so many great groups out there, whether it's the Gifford Center, the Brady Group, Sandy Hook, the Sandy Hook Promise, and many others doing such great work. And so I think the momentum is going in the right direction, but we have to address this. It's there's an Onion headline that they tweet after every mass shooting. It says, "No way to stop this," says country that has more mass shootings than any country on earth, or says the only country that actually suffers from these mass shootings. And it's true. It's like we're living in this bizarre denial where people just get slaughtered, and we just get stuck in this political battle that 90% of our country doesn't even agree with or believe in. So the insanity's got to stop.
A tough scene here, of course, in Boulder, Colorado. Our condolences go out to all the victims' family that suffer from this. And you see Monty Poole with his latest piece here about the situation in Boulder, Colorado. Another mass shooting where 10 people pass away. As we welcome everybody back to Warriors Postgame Live, presented by Toyota. The Hall of Famer Chris Mullin, the NBA champ Darrell Wright, and Bonte Hill and Mully. I'm at a loss for words. What the Asian community was going on with that. The mass shooting in Boulder, Colorado. If it's not one thing, it feels like it's another thing in this country. And it's really just horrific.
Yeah, Steve said it all right there. Just sad, devastating, tragic to think you go to the grocery store to, pick up dinner, pick up, some groceries, and you're mowed down.